It's on now.
Oh, they weren't on?
Excuse me.
I didn't know if we were
Sure not.
recording, 'cause there were a few that weren't recorded, I believe. Oh, sorry.
So we may be removing this piece after we kind of go through this again, and so when you do a land division in the future in the ag district, it can only be 10 acres.
That's the smallest.
I'm not sure how well that will go over, but it's your township.
That, yeah.
So, okay, so, sorry. So, back to the number 13. So, this would allow someone to have an outdoor a commercial storage building for people to store their stuff and get paid.
No.
I think that should be removed.
That should be removed,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you
We've
think,
talked
Anita?
about this.
Because
in
that's
great length,
commercial.
yeah.
Okay.
So what's the seasonal part of it, 14?
Seasonal storage in existing barns, what is
So that
that?
would be if you have an old barn on your property that used to store hay from the 1800s.
And now you wanna store somebody's car.
You're gonna let your neighbor store stuff in it, his boat or his camper for the
Yeah,
winter.
I think we should leave that.
Yeah, I think we should leave that one too.
Do they even have to ask permission? I mean, if I wanna store somebody's stuff in my barn, I
I'm gonna
just do
store it.
But if I'm gonna charge them, that's commercial.
So you're gonna let them.
But
do
you
it.
may
gonna
charge
give
them
you
to
some
just
cash.
like
Yeah.
pay back your heat.
Or
if
your
it's heated
electric or
electricity.
something.
So using an existing building and let someone park their boat or their camper in it, you know, those buildings are typically aren't the 60 by 100.
Right.
They're usually smaller, so they're really only fitting 1 or 2 boats or 1 or 2 campers.
And we're more like talking huge, so that you can store a bunch of them. As a business.
Right, that would be
In
number.
the ag district? 14?
So number 13, I take that back. I'm guessing an outdoor storage facility would be to store your boats or campers outside. Yeah, you kind of like have a fence.
And wrap them?
Store them.
So that's what we get,
So that's what number 13.
that's what we deleted, right? We're taking that one out.
Yeah. So it's not a building, it's storing stuff outside.
Right,
We
and
still wanna remove that.
so I don't know.
I still wanna remove that.
Yeah. So seasonal storage in existing barns, why,
So.
I mean, if they're existing, you're not building new ones, so
And it's
why
seasonal.
should
Why
we
should that even be there?
Yeah, you don't even do that.
why do we even need to worry about it?
Oh, yeah, so just take it out?
Yeah, it's kind of like none of our business.
Cause no one's gonna get a permit for that anyway.
Yeah, I would not get a permit.
I mean, we've got some, airplane hangars in our township.
And that
Oh,
would be
really?
kind of hard to regulate anyway, because you would have to go, what, at the end of the season and make sure it's empty?
Yeah, right, right.
And why
Not
would,
that
why
would-
would anybody care if somebody's storing something in somebody else's?
Fine.
Well, the only reason they would care is when it turns into a junkyard and it's not.
Yeah.
Then why
Yeah,
would you
but then
care if
that-
someone built a building and did the same thing?
Yeah.
Well, because an existing barn might fit more into the rural, yeah, that's true.
I'm just teasing.
She's just trying to make us crazy.
Oh, that's good, you should, because we should merit it out and think about
Yeah,
it.
right.
And,
But typically, they're smaller.
yeah,
So it's our-
an
like,
existing
it's
barn is
already
gonna be
there,
smaller,
and
right.
It looks, you know, like an old barn, and, you know, our neighbor's got a boat, he wants to store it in there, so it would be less things stored
Right.
than an existing.
Yeah, you aren't having somebody building something where they can rack them.
And I think there's probably something somewhere else to where if it does get out of hand, then we could then do something in another
With some enforcement.
provision somewhere, so.
Okay. Additional non-agricultural storage, did anybody have a question about that?
I don't know what that
Additional
means.
non-agricultural storage building beyond 3
3.04
I think we weren't-
doesn't pertain
that
to
was
it.
because we don't know where that led to. The 3.04, I don't think is anything for us right now in this ordinance, am I correct?
Here, look, I have the old one here.
Okay.
Read what see what the old one says.
You have the old one too.
I've got an old one
Okay.
too.
3.04
I do too, but I'm out of room.
I just got rid of the old master plan.
You've got another old one underneath here.
This
I
is
think.
even older.
Oh. You brought them all. Do you have a wagon?
Yes, I do.
The ordinance, if you have an
Actually.
agricultural building, you're exempt from, you know how, if you have a pole barn that can only be a certain size,
Mm-hmm.
if it's an ag building, you're exempt. Like, you could have as big as a barn if it's ag exempt already anyway.
So you could, what you're saying is they can and if you have a big ag barn, additional non-agricultural storage beyond buildings,
But
you can
can
do?
already have as many as you want.
Okay, so we don't really need to put that in there for special use because it's already in the ordinance that you can have it.
Yeah, so when you read the chart, the next, it says for all non-agricultural buildings.
And this is the chart that we're going to move to,
Right.
okay.
So it specifically
Maximum pro for,
already
Additional-
exempt.
oh, yeah, it's in there already.
Non-ag storage buildings beyond section
And it tells what you can have
A.
based on the acreage that you have.
Correct. So
Which-
if you have 1 to 3 acres,
But you're only gonna have 10 acres. Because, unless we're talking about grandfathered things.
correct,
Okay. So we could take that out of there because it's already in the ordinance, regulated in the ordinance.
correct.
Okay.
They're already not regulated in the ordinance.
Well,
So
yeah.
I don't know why you would need a special use
Use
permit
for
for
it.
additional that you can already.
That you can
non-ag
already do.
buildings.
Yeah, that needs
Without
to,
a special use.
that
So
needs to go out.
15 we're taking out.
So non-ag
Okay.
buildings are
It's right here.
accessory buildings,
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Anything that's
Wait,
not
I
for
take that.
agricultural use.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit, so non-ag would be a residential pole barn, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So we don't wanna delete that one.
Okay,
So in our special use, we have a section to where, let's say you can only have, 3,500 square feet, and we actually did a special use. We have 40 acres, you can only have 3,500 square feet. So with the special use, if you have it for the additional 10 acres, then he can have another 3,500. So this is for the regular pole barn guy who wants more than the 3,500, he can get a special use
for his 10 acres.
for
Or what?
his, correct.
Okay.
So up to 5 acres, but in the special use, which we're then going to revisit, if he has like 10 more acres, he can then get a 3,500 again,
Okay.
as an example. So number
15 should stay.
15, we would actually keep for a minute.
Okay.
So how about the section 3.04? That doesn't, does
So
that make
would
any
be
sense?
changed.
To,
That's why it's highlighted,
section
because it
4.
just needs to be referred
It would
to.
then be 403,
We're in 403.
we're in 403. It would be 402, but that 402 is gonna be moved to, accessory building supplemental. So it'll be moved to that section, which I don't know what number it is right now.
correct.
Okay,
Which we won't know until we're through all this, right?
okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I need to make that note. Moved to,
So how does what would an airplane hangar be considered?
An airplane hangar.
Okay, so did they get, like, how do you go about building one? You get a special use permit?
So there is a building code, there's an appendix in the building code for airplane hangars. That's what it's
Okay.
built for, is to hold an airplane, there are building codes, specific building code requirements for it.
Okay, and that's why theirs can be so much larger, because it's for an airplane and needs to be larger.
No, it's not ag exempt, so you would have to follow the rules.
Okay.
So you would not be able to build one over 3,500 square feet.
unless you had
Oh.
a special,
You could make, your ordinance limits struck only 3,500 square feet for however much property you have. And we kind of discussed this about changing that.
does it seem small? I mean, does it seem like 3,500 square feet for the 10 acres is,
Small, yes.
it's small? It seems small to me.
So I'm not sure why after the 5 acres, it's just not unlimited.
Yeah,
So
I
10
mean,
acres
so
or
it'd
more
be
could
like
be
a
unlimited size, is
35
what you're saying?
yeah.
Like a 35 by 100-foot building is 3,500 square foot?
Correct.
But if
Yeah,
you
that's
have
not
10
very-
acres, that's not very big. I mean,
Correct. And your ordinance caps it
although I'd love to have one
So
that.
5 acres or more, it's capped at 3,500. That's it, that's all you can have. So if you have 20 acres, you can't have the standard ginormous pole barn that everybody wants, it's 6,500.
Well,
Unless
that seems
Unless
silly.
you ask, right?
Unless there's a special use that,
Does
We
that
gave
seem,
one
does that
guy
seem silly?
yeah.
I mean,
Is it
should we
bigger,
change
not allowed
that?
to build something bigger?
So I totally get the regulating the size when you're on the
Smaller.
smaller parcels, that totally makes sense to me.
but you've
Since you
got,
don't have a lot coverage, I would definitely, I love the chart until we get to
10
acres.
5
acres.
acres, but then there should be the 10, and then it should be unlimited. So if you have
Okay.
10 or more,
You should be able to build a
So
bigger,
then we need to change that.
we need to say what, unlimited
Unlimited.
then? You just put it in as
I mean,
unlimited?
if that's what you
Yeah.
decide,
Should-
but
Or maybe say 3,500 square feet per 10 acres.
Per
So,
5
so if
acres.
you
So
have
if you have
20
20
acres,
acres, you can
then you
build a
can get
7,000
or
square
per 5
foot.
Yeah.
acres, since you're.
Per 5.
keeping it-
Yeah.
Yeah, we have it at 3,500 square feet per acre. I mean, per
Per
5
5.
Per
acres.
5,
acres.
So we would, so how would we say that 3,500 square feet per
Per
5
5
acres?
acres.
So, yeah,
Okay,
so each additional 5 acres would be.
per additional 5 acres,
That sounds, yeah, so
yeah.
basically we would just,
In that chart, add the wording,
so where it says 10
acres or more.
basically we would kind of remove that and then it would say each additional 5 acres would be another 3,500 square feet.
Okay,
as
Sure.
an example.
well, that makes sense. Because then if you have an airplane and you wanna build an airplane hangar, you're going to have that amount of acreage because you have to have a runway.
Correct.
Yes.
And you wouldn't be able
Right.
to build a hangar.
And that would just eliminate needing a special use.
Correct.
Oh, that's perfect.
Each additional 5 acres.
Make it easy.
Permitted.
Then we would be removing 15 then.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
Then we
sure.
will not need a special use, because then it would be already allowed.
okay, perfect. So the whole, cause we got caught up on the 16 square feet for about signs. Last time we were like, wait a minute, why is it in there? But now that, it makes more sense now that it's just agricultural and not residential. Okay, that makes more sense. Is that 16 square feet on a,
2
it's not
feet by
big.
8 feet.
2 feet by 8
So I
feet?
do have signs,
4 by 4.
possibly, as,
Yeah.
as a section, if we would like to regulate signs,
Rather, and take it out of here
yes. that
and
would-
Where are you
regulate
looking at?
signs? I think that makes more sense. Because
Why am I not seeing it?
personally, let me know if I'm like crazy on this, but if I were looking at something and I don't know if I would look in this section to see about signs, I would go to a section that said signs.
Yeah.
It
I
seems a
agree.
little more like
I
a
agree with
good
that.
repertory kind of thing
So,
there.
and we definitely don't need to have 100 pages to regulate signs.
Right,
Right.
There's case law right now to where you can only, regulate like the size and the location of the sign. You can't like call it a real estate sign or a business sign or basically in the district, you're gonna allow this size.
You can't regulate the content.
Correct. So
Right.
We don't call it, it's just a sign,
mhm,
and if you're in the ag district, it can be no larger than 16 square feet, and then you should probably get a setback.
I don't know, maybe that's okay. You think you're driving down the road and there's somebody's gonna put up a
Billboard.
huge sign,
Yeah.
Trump, what the hell, they're gonna put up.
Bug
I guess you can't regulate,
Whatever,
well,
whatever
you
you put.
can't regulate
I
free
just-
speech,
Yeah.
but,
In the ag district, all I see is, I don't see a lot of big signs with their farm name. I mostly see the environmentally verified and
uh-huh.
I see nice signs. I mean, they do nice signs. But I agree with Dave, if it gets too big, then I see billboards in the
Billboards.
future.
Well, I think that would be, you'd have to get a special use permit to install a
So
billboard,
this
I
is
would
in
think.
all of the districts. So this language is in all of the districts.
It
Under
says
the-
painted on the
So
wall.
under the permitted accessory uses, this is in all the districts, probably except for commercials, the 16 feet. So in the R1, the language is the same.
So can't we just have a separate
Sign
ordinance that just
section?
says signs
about
and remove signs out of every
Out of
other
every one of these.
section?
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. don't know why you don't have a sign painted on your house anyway. Because it
Even
says
we
painted on a
call.
wall. What?
Rock City. My son actually told me, because we were in Tennessee,
Uh-huh.
he said, you've gotta go see Rock City sometime. Him and his wife went, and he said it's amazing, amazing.
I went when
I
I
guess
was
these
little.
people, they spent their life making this, like, creation of rocks. It's
That's awesome.
he couldn't describe it, but he said it's something you have to see.
That's funny. That's funny.
And then you get a little birdhouse that says Sea Rock City.
What, Tasha, what does home occupations class 1 mean?
So home occupation class 1, we have a definition.
Oh, duh, I could've just looked
Yeah.
at, no, I'm gonna go to it. Wait, let me do it. No, wait. Home occupations, there we go.
Home occupation is typically some sort of
Class 1.
very non-invasive
Dance instruction.
business in your home where you
Okay.
teach someone the guitar.
Okay, that's why, okay.
A lot of the times it's a tax person
Mhm.
or
So this
some
is
sort of
allowed?
computer.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yes, you should allow home occupations, yes.
Okay,
I don't see how you could not.
well,
I mean, it's
and that's allowed in the,
hard not to.
It would be allowed in all the districts
Right.
that allow single-family homes.
okay.
What about having I live in the ag district, I have 25 acres. I'm hoping to get a greenhouse if I can ever find one I can afford.
Mm-hmm.
And what if I decide I wanna sell plants, not pot?
So you could
Potted
grow the plant in your greenhouse, and then you could then have a stand out by the road.
I could have a farm stand, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Have a farm,
thought.
Yes.
I probably won't bother with that, I just do it for my own pleasure, but my husband might put a little pressure on me to pay for some
Pay for,
potatoes.
pay for your greenhouse. Okay.
So we're to the communication tower,
Mhm.
I think that's probably good, and then the grower facility.
Grower facility.
In the ag district.
As in
Marijuana.
marijuana, okay.
Number 17 is marijuana.
Should we make that clear? What grower facility means,
So
or
there's,
just,
you have a definition.
oh, okay.
You have a definition.
Tasha, I
So
just
we don't
feel
need
like
to
you are
title it,
full on,
okay.
like, hey
Well,
dummy,
I know we have a
read your definition. And
I
that's
was
okay.
around for all that, but should it say marijuana grower facility? Or
Let's
just
see.
leave it at grower, because grower
Oh, wait a minute.
facility
You can
could
grow a
be,
lot
It's
of
not in
things.
here.
could
Not
be
in here.
flowers.
Grower
Mhm.
facility is not in here.
So I think maybe we do, it's just not in there. Let me find.
Let me see if it's under marijuana. Marijuana facility. It's called marijuana facility in the definitions, but a grower facility in the,
Mhm.
in the thing. So we need to
Yeah.
change it to one or the other. And
I
then
would
in the
change it to
definition, it
marijuana
says
grower
grower
facility.
facility. So maybe in 17, we need to say marijuana facility.
I would,
Uh-huh. I would too, 'cause you're right, you can grow a lot of things.
right.
And marijuana spelled incorrectly in the definition.
Or vice versa,
They spell it with an H
There's two
everywhere.
ways to spell it, you can spell it with the H or without.
so
Or
our
with a J.
special
It's
How do
a
they
land
spell
J. I think it should be a J.
Oh, with the J.
In everything I've read in here,
It's
it's
supposed
an
to be an
H.
H through the state.
Oh, okay.
The state uses an H.
Marijuana.
Oh, no, they should use a J and an H.
The state uses just an H.
Okay. Sweet, then.
Well, the state's spelling it wrong. I've been around for a long time.
So our special use calls it a grow facility, so we would wanna change the definition. That would probably be easier than.
Mhm.
Change the definition to grower facility rather than marijuana facility?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, make,
Or we would have, that
Grower.
would change one thing, or we'd have to change two things.
just change the one thing, that's fine. Everybody kind of knows what a grower
So which one are
facility is. We're gonna take marijuana facility and make it grower, so it'll move up in the alphabet, right?
Mhm.
And then we'll
Okay.
define
We're
that
changing
it,
the definition,
we'll define that it grows
or
marijuana.
changing it in the definition.
Okay.
Because we like to change definitions.
So then in
Grow.
17, it's gonna be left as grower
Grower
facility.
facility, yeah.
Okay. It's just like, well, everybody's a grower.
Yeah, but I think, you know, if
Harris
somebody
family
says
are
you're a
growers.
grower facility,
They grow
know.
blueberries, you know.
Do you have you're
Yeah,
not growers.
I guess I get it, yeah. I'm sorry about my phone.
Not you, you a grower?
I am.
Really, for real.
Oh, not marijuana.
Oh.
It's like, you know, back in the day, why couldn't it have been legal then? It's like, now I don't even
No, I
wanna
don't
bother.
care.
Why'd I have to hide it then?
Okay, what else, Tasha, on this do we wanna look at? Are you good with 403? That's what you said you wanted to go over. Do we need to go to B?
Let's continue on page 33, these things that are highlighted.
Yes.
Do those pertain to anything? I'm trying to look and see.
What page?
See, page
Page
33,
33.
Oh,
it's
on
the,
page 33?
well, no, what else do you wanna go to?
Oh.
What do you wanna?
No, I was just,
Should we go to
I
B,
figured-
additional accessory buildings,
I don't know
and make sure that's clear, and?
that's not in the current ordinance, so I don't know where that's from.
What?
The setback,
Number B, additional accessory
Oh.
buildings.
yeah.
I don't know where that text came from.
Okay, so let's go over it. Except for buildings related to activity of farming operations, an accessory building, or buildings in excess of the number of accessories permitted within the zoning shall be only permitted under this section. In its principal use or building based.
Oh, okay, so it comes from, what is it for?
So that might be
Section where no
redundant,
principal
but
building exists.
I think it's okay.
Oh, this is saying that without a building,
Feels like there's just a lot of words used that don't need to be used, extra words. Is it under
We're
two?
looking in the old table of contents, so it's.
wait, are we all looking at 4.03 B?
Yes, that's what we're looking at. Is that why it was put there, because it's special use,
So we may be removing B as in boy also
and moving it to the supplemental?
to nowhere.
Oh.
But you can just fix that with our adding the 5 acres.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because then there's more,
Yeah, because it
There,
says
talk
up to
about
square, up to 600.
mhm,
Okay.
3,500 square feet, 10 acres.
Wait, what has that got to do with the size?
Well, it says the number of accessory buildings permitted, so if you have more than 10 acres, you get another 3,500 every 5 acres.
But
But it's already
that's
listed,
square foot, that's not number of buildings.
if you have less than 2 acres.
Accessory buildings related active farming, an accessory building or building in excess of the number of accessory buildings.
So I would say, if I have less than 2 acres, I get 1,280 square feet, so I could build
Two
two
buildings.
No.
things that equal 1,280
No, what I'm
square feet.
reading here is that without a principal residence, you can't build.
So this
But that's
language
already
is
in the
taken
ordinance.
specifically from the special use section. So if you have 3 acres and you wanna have more than the allowed, then you can apply for a special use to exceed the allotment.
In the chart.
However, if you actually read the special use provision, only those who have an additional 10 acres can actually get more.
So,
Which that doesn't make sense,
So
because
this
we've
is
covered that
actually
someplace else.
somewhere else.
are we reading different things? What I'm reading in this paragraph right here is that this is addressing a building on a vacant lot.
It is not. This is for, if you have a property and you are only allowed 2,200 square feet because you have less than 4 acres and you want 3,500, then technically you're supposed to apply for a special land use to get the extra.
Then where does this sentence come from? For example, storage buildings or garages shall not be permitted under this section where no principal building exists.
Correct. That means that you have to have a house on your property to get this special use. It's in our ordinance.
It's in the
Right,
special
but-
use ordinance already.
It's currently in our ordinance under the special use section. I'm not sure why it's here.
So we're
Okay,
saying it's in there, so we can just get rid of it in this
Okay,
section,
because I
because
was
it is in
not,
there.
I couldn't connect this to the square footage. I thought the square footage had nothing to
Yeah.
do with this.
It does. This is if you want to have more than what's allowed. But you have to have a house.
Well, this is about a building, an accessory building.
Correct.
So that's
in
covering
excess
someplace
of
else.
the number of buildings permitted.
But it's actually the total floor area of all the structures. So, the text, that's why we're fixing this order.
Okay, 'cause the text doesn't say anything about that.
Because
Okay,
our chart says,
so we're removing this entire
Max floor,
paragraph.
total floor area.
yeah, so currently, it's just in a different section in the ordinance under a special use,
So it doesn't need to be here.
Okay,
which was number 15. So number 15 that we
Mhm.
raised.
Says additional non-agricultural storage
So
buildings.
it's a special use, so when you go to our special use section now,
okay.
this is exactly what it says.
Okay.
So this D just shouldn't be here.
I was just trying to make sure we were all on the same page.
So,
The next one is the setbacks from the rear and the side.
we already went over all the setbacks?
Right.
Yeah.
What does prohibited mean? I can't remember, where it says 3,500 feet prohibited.
Oh,
So this is the text that's specifically from the special use, so this number 2 will also be removed.
Okay.
Oh.
And this is why it didn't make any sense, the special use. So this number 2, this chart,
this whole thing is removed.
correct, is currently in our special use section.
Okay.
We're gonna remove that from the ag district. And we're also gonna remove number 3. And then number 4, we already went over all of our setbacks, so Christie will make the chart, and this is where
Right.
this chart will go, so this A and B
Will become
will
a
be
chart.
replaced with the chart. We already went over all the
Yep.
setbacks.
Replace the chart. So the allowing, like say, 7,000 square foot or 15,000 square foot, whatever, according to the acreage, the setbacks don't change because you still gotta have a certain amount of setbacks on a property, correct?
So currently, we do not have a different setback based on the size, unless you wanna apply for the special use, and then there's this chart that never made any sense, so.
No, I just
Which are-
having a standard setbacks are a good
So
idea.
whether your pole barn is 30 by 40 or 60 by 100, the side setback is still 10 feet.
Yeah, I think that seems consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have a different setback for your house or a pole barn, it's the same.
Right.
Unless you would like it to be different,
No.
because that would just be something else we
Right.
Tasha's like, I have to say, unless you'd like it to be different.
Ag district setbacks are my favorite, 50, 10, and 20, that's like,
Easy to remember, makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the easier, the smaller it is, the ordinances, just easier for the zoning administrator to deal with, easier for people to look at it and see what they can figure out.
just in some ag districts, the size is a little bigger, but, I mean, I'm not here to reinvent the wheel and change any setbacks. So remember when we had that, when we went through them all, I think we
Yeah.
only changed like one of them to make more sense. But all the setbacks
Oh, yeah.
are gonna stay the same when we get it in the chart.
Yeah, I do think, I agree with you. I think I mentioned it last time. The language needs to be clear. The language needs to, so that
Yeah.
anybody who reads it
Right.
can understand
figure
it.
it out.
So, right. And then, so that takes care of this, which we also wondered what 205, 402, and 403 were, but I think those are from the old,
Correct.
The old
Those are
ones.
the current sections, yeah, remember,
Right.
you have to go, yeah.
you have to flip back
And
to
this
the
all
current
goes.
one.
Except for the RO district, which is in the section, everyone else flips to that, and then you have 7 different things that you. So, that will all
205
go
is
away.
non-conforming
Okay.
lot record.
All right, so then we can move on to the residential district.
R1.
R1.
Yeah.
R1, okay. All right. So, this should be the same as, that's kind of, three, get to the,
So our R1 district, to kind of give you some perspective, is it's not just Columbia, the Grand Junction. So the Grand Junction, and then we have one little section over here, so this is 388. There's one little section right here.
Why would that be?
Right here,
Non-conforming.
by Breedsville.
I thought we were removing that one on Breedsville, no?
So in our future land use
In the
map,
future land
it
use,
was removed.
okay.
So, just to give you some perspective, the R1 is basically the town,
and
your
this is
town.
all junk, it's horrible. Okay, and then the other one, where's the other one came from? Oh, right here on 388?
And I can't picture that.
I don't know where that, I can't think where that is.
That's like Christie's house.
Yes, actually, yes,
Okay, 'cause I'm
She
here.
lives in the little yellow spot.
yep.
Oh, there's a,
So there's more than one
So there-
home there
Did
that
we make a
looks so
zone for
small.
Christie?
We may have.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, so I think,
So why are there so many limited? And is that just because I'm new to this, I'm sorry that, but it could be a good refresher. Maybe, I don't know. Those tiny little residential areas,
The
like those
R1,
two,
is
the
what you're
R1s,
Okay, why?
yeah,
And then there's.
why are they just there?
so,
Is it to build a neighborhood?
could be, so we need to read our purpose, so read the purpose.
They're there because
A
somebody did
substantial,
some
by a
favor, that's why they're there.
substantial number of residents which
What'd
are
you
free
say?
from other uses
They're
except
not
for.
there because they made sense.
It's basically just to keep it residential.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so then, when we read the R2,
This is not going to be there.
so our R2 is more around the lake, and then
Right.
that purpose is to provide for an establishment or formation of higher density, varied use types of housing, including resort-related residences.
Which,
Whereas the R1.
Right.
that
What
is,
you're saying is the lot area is exactly the same. So if you're an R1, 100 feet and 12,000 square feet, and this also.
That's the minimum.
All your districts have the same lot size, except for the egg.
and that wording that you read, to allow for high density, no one on the lakes, and I don't even believe our master plan wants high density. High density it creates problems for the people who live there, who are
already
going
is
to
high
live
It
there,
already is high
for
density.
the lake,
So-
right.
Around Saddle and
Why do you
Silver
wanna
Lake
make it
especially.
more?
So they're platted, which is already high
Which
density.
is already high density.
So they're platted, hence high density. So you may not be able to build a lot on them, but.
But they're already zoned, they're zoned as that because they're already there, right?
That could.
But should that definition of the purpose be changed? I mean,
Yeah, if
Where are we?
if it has
Right
changed,
now.
then
Oh,
yes,
we're here.
and that's what we're doing. So we're,
Well, no,
those
wait a
are the
minute.
things that we're,
We're on this road.
We're-
just on these are master
We're-
plan. So, yeah.
Are we
We're
on
like right
three
here, maybe?
eighty-eight? We're 388 and this is Grand Junction, correct?
yeah.
Okay, so we're right, yeah, we are
Oh, wait,
right
no,
here,
We're on 388.
right here.
We're on this curved road. The red line is Calhaven Trail.
Oh, that's Calhaven Trail?
Is it?
It's the only thing that's
Oh,
straight.
okay.
This road curves. We're like right in this area maybe?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't read it because my eyes
So,
are.
so what is
So
right
we're like
here?
right here then. What is
It's
that
brown,
brown?
supposed to
It's
be.
residential old plat.
I know, but-
Yeah, that's like Little Bear Lake, up the fire lane things, and
Is
so,
there a lake?
So this is where we
We're
are,
on Shoal,
this
right?
is County Road 388 here,
Mhm.
right?
that goes
Yeah,
down
I
and
think so.
curves.
And
I
curves,
think
yeah.
it says right
So
there.
we're gonna be
Yeah.
up,
There's
we're-
388.
yeah, so we're gonna be up like right in here.
Here? Okay.
You mean where the
I don't-
township
where
hall
we
is
are
right
right now,
now?
yeah.
What road
Yeah,
is here?
somewhere right,
388.
Yeah.
No, this road.
round in here.
388.
Wait a minute.
388.
We're looking for 50
388
seconds.
is right
What's that
here.
road?
That is 50
52nd.
second.
52?
And
Can you read that? The numbers on that, am I blind? Which lake is this one?
that's Saddle Lake.
Oh gosh, it's so much bigger than I
It's
realized.
huge, isn't
and silver is here.
Oh, here, look over on this, look on the next page, you can read them better.
Good Lord, okay. 'Cause we drive around this one sometimes. Oh, and there's north, okay.
And then Scott Lake, that area there, it's like, good luck figuring out what's, when you're driving by there, what's ours and what's not.
Over here,
Down
isn't it?
here.
Down in here, no, that's north, okay, yeah. Okay, Tasha, what do you want us to know?
Sorry.
And
Now that
then
we know where
that's
we're,
also,
So-
residential.
So,
right, yeah,
so basically,
residential resort.
in really all reality, these two districts pretty much say the same thing. The R1 and the R2, except for the intent, are the same.
Yes,
So do we need
I
to have them
believe so.
designated differently?
because we have different intent, or,
I think it's just because it's always been,
Oh, so the R2,
is residential resort.
yes.
The
Okay, so
lake
and that's
property.
around the lake.
around the
Yep.
lake, those are the lake
So
districts.
the R2 allows for 2 families, which is kind of the higher density, so I guess they are a little different.
Okay.
Single and two-family dwellings, and the R1 is single family of conventional or manufactured.
Also allow multifamily as a special use in the R2. So you can have an apartment, somewhat.
Where is that list?
And I think that we'll have to get into
Multiple family dwellings.
later,
Well,
but I think we should do that all over. I find this
5, 6, and
purpose
7.
interesting that, various use types of housing included resort-related residences and enterprises in areas conducive to such use. What's an enterprise? A business?
or is that renting out your lake house, you know?
Oh, that's, some people think that's a business, yes, but
When
I
this was written, people weren't doing so much.
So it
then
almost seems
be an
like some of the
enterprise.
things in the R2 should really be in the R1, because the R1, I kinda think should be larger sizes than the than the R2, and then I think we should probably eliminate the multifamily. You don't have to allow multifamily, because when you're on the lake, how are you gonna get a septic well? How?
Yeah.
That's the thing, that's
Yeah.
the thing about
That doesn't make,
cramming up the lakes.
Then the duplexes would kind of make more sense
in
the R1
one,
than the RO.
Yeah.
So maybe
maybe you should.
then, maybe?
So basically what we're saying is in the R2, what is the RO? Wait a minute, where's the
The
RO?
RO, isn't that the
So that's,
old?
I thought we were
Two.
doing one,
Oh,
R1
RO
and
is
R2.
residential old flat,
and
sorry,
that's something
okay,
totally, yeah, that's the dark brown.
Okay,
okay.
that's not what we're talking about yet, right?
We're not talking about those, like,
We're doing
Okay.
one
We're
and
talking about
So we're
right
talking
around
about
the
one,
lake.
we're talking about most
One.
of the yellow,
uh-huh,
and then the few little dark yellows.
which are the residential, okay. So,
So, let's do maybe just one at a time.
yes, let's do just residential district R1. Let's go through it numerically, section 5.
So the purpose is to preserve single-family homes, maintain character, conventionally built, provide protection against contamination, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's a residential district. Makes sense.
Okay. So why would you say conventionally built if you're allowing like is a manufactured construction considered conventionally built?
I'm gonna say no, I'm thinking conventionally would be
Stick built, so do we want to take that out of there since we allow manufactured dwelling?
FH, I don't know if this matters for our purposes, but they do consider a modular home, they finance it as stick built.
As stick built?
Yeah.
It's stick built, just stick built someplace else.
Yeah.
Maintain the character, integrity, pristine residential, so it says, which are
Where,
the areas, so I'm reading it again, the whole sentence.
to establish?
So it's, to maintain the character of and integrity of the existing residential, which are.
To Predominantly,
mostly conventionally built,
okay,
so it doesn't mean the purpose is to have them.
Okay.
It's stating that
okay,
it's,
And I like to provide protection against contamination of soil and surface, because
Yeah.
the stuff going on around me, no one is using septic, so they're using something and it's not septic. I don't live on a lake.
oh, okay.
So if I lived on a lake, I would probably hate it even worse. Although we're by the river,
Okay.
and the river is pretty contaminated with,
So-
E.
so
coli.
I honestly really think that a lot of these uses should be swapped, now that we're looking into this, so let me see next one.
Okay, so should we go through R1 and just decide if there's anything that needs to be taken out? Okay.
So, number
Um,
one should be amended to say a conventional or manufactured single-family dwelling.
what would that include, like a trail?
It would be whatever is allowed in your minimum dwelling standard.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're gonna go through that section,
Okay,
so we can,
so we're gonna get conventional or manufactured construction in accordance with section 4.1,
Just leave single-family dwelling.
single-family dwelling.
it would say single-family dwelling in accordance with whatever our new minimum dwelling.
Okay, so it'll be the new,
Why are
okay,
we taking out conventional or manufactured construction? 'Cause that is a house or a trailer.
Then we're just repeating ourselves.
Okay.
We're already gonna say that.
in the minimum
It says it.
dwelling section,
Okay.
right? State licensed residential foster care facilities housing 6 or fewer persons, and state licensed child care providing care for 6 or fewer children.
You have to allow those.
What?
Choice.
'Cause we can't do anything about
You have
those.
to allow those.
Yeah.
And actually, we need to add, here, actually, I should actually read this, I'm sorry. So, the child care center is not a correct statement or wording.
Okay.
A child care center is actually a commercial facility.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So, we actually went through this already. And I already gave you what the actual names are.
I remember when we worked on it, and I don't remember what the words were.
I don't think I was here, was I?
No.
No.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah, so in all of the districts, we'll update to the correct terms. So there's a group child care, foster care, we did go through that already, I have it with it. So whatever it's called, there's the regular child care with the 6, there's an adult foster care, there's a regular foster care, and then there's foster care, adult care, and there's the daycare. So kids, the adults, and the foster care.
Okay. So should we add in, okay, we
So we
need to add in the adult one, correct? Okay.
And change the word
Of the child care to
correct.
daycare.
And we'll do that in all of the districts,
Okay.
and we already went through,
And so we're gonna add a 4th one that says state licensed adult foster.
yeah, or whatever it,
Okay.
I can't find it right here, but we already went through that to decide where we wanted the special use, the child care, daycare,
And,
center, we already did that.
okay, and these are permitted by right, not by special use permit, correct? Okay,
You have to allow the items.
okay.
Which is kind of weird, I'm not sure why you then have to put them in your ordinance, but for some reason,
If it's
it
allowed.
has to be in the ordinance.
Whatever. Aggregate gross residential building. Accessory to residential buildings shall not exceed. Didn't we go over this already? Did we go over that? Besides
That's
this?
the same chart.
Yep, this chart is
Yep,
the same.
okay,
So, in the R1 district, you could actually parcels in this district aren't so large like they are in the ag, so we could leave the chart the same and not give the additional relief for the larger parcels. Or we can just have the chart all be the same no matter what. So in this district, we have less parcels and they're smaller. We don't have Mr. Smith with 50 acres who needs a bigger barn. So you could keep the chart the same
Oh, yeah, and not say per additional 5.
if you wanted to, or we could just have the chart all be the same and then we don't have to worry about it. That would probably be easier. So
Just to
remove
have the chart be all the same,
Yes.
because we're moving it.
Chart.
So
Because
the
there
chart's
aren't
not
any,
gonna be here at all?
Correct.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because there
And
aren't
leave-
any,
yeah, leave it
there
the same.
aren't any,
Parcels that big.
parcels that big, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so the chart will be moved. Moved to the, supplemental accessory, okay,
Building section,
okay.
correct. So in our next revision of this, it will actually say, under the permitted uses by right, the line that says accessory buildings.
And C
And
section
then it will then send you
to
to that.
that section, perfect, that's beautiful. Okay, home occupations class 1,
So then, number 2 is home occupation, that will also be a permitted use
right, which,
by right, because that's
You
really
have
not
to.
an accessory, it's in your home, so that's.
okay, yeah. And then the storage sheds or carports with less than 200 square feet shall not exceed the maximum height of 25 feet and meet all setbacks. I think that's
And that would go to
straightforward.
the accessory building section.
That is, okay.
Oh, all of
That'll
this
be
is
moved.
moved, okay. And then the signs, we're putting.
That's
And
going
the
to be
signs is
moved.
going to the sign section.
3 will be moved.
Yep, move to accessory buildings.
Yeah, so kind of we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6-ish special uses.
Right,
Yeah, so the next version of this, it will look
much.
different.
Well, no, those aren't special uses, are they? Those are permitted by right uses.
Those are permitted uses by right.
Okay,
So
and
you
then-
can have a home occupation in your home, and then we then read the definition, or in our supplemental, we have home occupation rules, and they would just follow those.
Okay.
So every person who has a home can have a home occupation if they follow these rules.
okay, perfect. Okay, section 5.03, permitted special uses with conditions.
So yeah, the section numbers would change to whatever our special use section will be. Section the 411, 412, our special use section.
You know what, a library?
Yes,
School.
you should.
So you do have to allow
You might need-
church.
As a school could be like a, they can open a little charter school or something.
You have to allow them in all your districts.
What about publicly owned buildings?
Well, that could kind of be,
This,
This, fire
Ah.
station, police
because
station.
we're in a residential
Ah.
section right now, correct?
Yeah. I think we're in a white area out
so
here.
publicly owned
Aren't we
buildings
right? We're here.
could be, so number
Going to
3
be
is a
commercial.
public utility building. And there are provisions for essential service. I don't know why, I guess if someone had a publicly owned building and needed to go somewhere in this district, I guess we would figure that. But if you remove that, you would be.
You would be? You wouldn't be. It just seems, yeah.
You wouldn't have to allow a library either, so.
Okay, well, you know.
God forbid.
I'm gonna recuse myself
God
from that.
forbid, we should have a library.
Yeah, I'm gonna recuse myself from that.
Might
I happen to
actually
be
read.
pro-library.
We don't want that.
Libraries are good for community.
Yes, no, library, I love libraries. I have a library card, so I use
So
it.
the town is the R2, however, it has the overlay, and the library would be, the library is typically publicly owned by a government.
Yeah, it is. Well, yes, yeah.
So that's up to you. You do have to meet school and church. library, or the publicly owned buildings in the R1 district.
Would that cover little free libraries too?
That's what I was thinking.
Little free libraries that people put on their property?
Those are cute, yeah.
So by right.
Because it's on your property. Doesn't matter to me.
I
if you
think just leave it
Leave it.
because it's
Yeah.
Because it's cute.
kind of a no harm, no foul.
So, what about hospitals, clinics? Do you have to have that in an R1?
Oh, we'd be so lucky to get a clinic. That's
What?
not happening.
That seems weird to me that you'd want to put that in a residential, like in a already established residential district.
I know you don't want it in the ag district, but that's where our larger park size is.
Right.
We need a lot of room to have a hospital to
Right.
start with,
Right.
so,
Put them in the commercial, we now have a large commercial district,
Yeah.
or TV commercial, right?
I remember when Bangor had the opportunity to have, the South Haven branch and they voted it down. I couldn't believe it.
We've got hospitals in the ag section.
Yeah. We have hospitals in the ag section. Is that,
I
So-
would have to ask, I'm not
okay.
sure,
Do you think if we can take it out, we could take that out?
yes.
Okay. What do you guys think?
Oh,
I
I think you should take them out.
I don't
Okay.
see anyone wanting to
I
build
don't
do
know
that,
why
right,
they
right.
allow
So
it.
might as well just,
In the ag district, we have, it's almost all ag, so,
yeah, so they can build it
There's
there.
plenty of places for people to
Yeah,
choose
so
to
You don't
build
need
a
to build it.
hospital.
didn't allow it, but allowed it here, that would be kind of silly, so I think if we
Yeah.
go the other way.
Right.
Yes, if we don't allow it here, but we have it in the ag, don't, we still have it in the ag, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't think we crossed it off, but it's late. Public utility buildings, you kinda have to have that, don't you?
Call them essential services, I guess.
Okay.
That's kind of weird, so.
Oh,
You wanna
like, it's
Change it to an
probably
essential service?
like those little,
Those
buildings that have
yeah,
utilities in
transfer
them.
station.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would you suggest changing the verbiage?
I made a note to check our definition.
Okay.
To see actually what it says, and
What
look at
public
the special uses, and then maybe we'll just call it something else.
Okay.
Maybe I know Dave loves this one.
That's,
Community country club,
Country club.
fraternal lodges,
I don't know why you would want
nudist
that.
camp. I used to camp near a nudist camp. It was
Oh.
interesting.
What
They-
haven't
They
you
ran
done?
a restaurant. They literally had a truck stop there. I mean, it's been there forever on Route 10 in Indiana.
That's hilarious.
And the name of it is hilarious. It's called Naked City.
You go from Naked
I
City to
read-
Rock City. Anything with a city on it, you're like, I'm there.
That's too funny.
That's hilarious. So, do we wanna have country clubs or fraternal lodges or civic or social organizations
No,
in your residential? I don't think that makes
I'm gonna
sense.
say no.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I read that earlier and I thought, why are we doing that? I don't want a fraternal lodge next door to me. I'm not in a residential, but I don't want it. Land for parks, playgrounds, private swimming pools. What would that be in, public and private swimming pools, limited outdoor facilities, I would think.
I would maybe when, instead of not operated for profit, when operated by a municipality. Or
land
put
for parks or
municipal.
playgrounds, and
Yeah.
maybe raise the rest.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see maybe like if in a residential, existing residential district,
Definitely not
if-
a pool, we definitely
Yep.
need to erase that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
that's
and
a liability.
it doesn't need to say for outdoor exercise and recreation, because that's kind of covered in.
But I would
Yeah.
think parks or playgrounds would be good, because if you have a neighborhood and they wanna put in,
That's a good
Something
place to
like
have a
that.
park,
yeah.
where the kids live.
Yeah,
So leave land for parks and playgrounds, and that's it?
but if we take out private swimming pools, does that change how people can use that?
Well, they can still
They
have their
still
own
have their
pool.
setbacks
So
and
in
their,
our supplemental, we're gonna have a provision for a pool,
okay.
or we would just add it to the permitted use. Or to the accessory building section or structure.
Which do you think makes most sense?
So you can't just put a pool in?
Certainly you don't regulate pools at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought
But
it was.
we're kinda updating our ordinance, which pretty much says if it's not stated, it's not allowed. So we're gonna need to put some rules in there.
Where do you think it makes most sense to put it?
Maybe in the, so the accessory building and structures,
Okay,
a pool would be an accessory structure, so we can put it in that section.
okay. And then, so on this thing, we would say.
Can it have its own section?
Or in our supplemental, it can have its own
Own
section,
section?
kind of like a fence, pool.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
I wouldn't look for swimming pool in
It would just-
accessory
It
building.
just needs to be a paragraph or two.
okay, so the thing about
Except
pools
pools.
is gonna go in supplemental. Right?
So
Okay,
this reminds me of something else. How about, is a paved driveway structure?
No.
No. Do we need to regulate that?
If you would like to define it as a structure,
As a
then you
structure.
can.
No.
I'm going to say no.
You're gonna say no? Cause there was a problem of
That
someone,
one person had the problem.
one person, so I just wanted to,
Somebody had a problem with somebody paving
so-
their driveway?
No.
well, if you could pave your whole lot, basically.
And it was, the problem was this was lakefront, and the problem was runoff. And so if your neighbor paves their whole yard and they don't do it correctly, you could end up with a mess
Right.
in your yard because of what they did. How to regulate that, I have no
Well,
idea.
wouldn't that
I can't see
be,
anyone paving their
yeah,
whole yard.
why would anyone pave their whole yard?
They don't mow and
Yeah.
they wanna
Well,
park
then you
boats.
put rocks in, so. But
I
wouldn't
don't
that be handled under
The site plan?
site plan review, or, I don't know, wouldn't that be handled under something different?
If it was a new building, but
So, a building permit isn't required for a driveway. The road commission regulates the driveway, well, not this particular one because it's on a fire lane, but you can regulate it if you would like. Now, we just have another regulation.
Yeah, I don't,
So it's out of the whole township, there's been
there's
one problem?
yeah,
Or that's been brought to our attention.
Attention.
right,
There's
because
never
he
been a
does
problem.
bring to,
So you would actually have some sort of stormwater language to retain or
yeah.
manage your own stormwater. That would be a better way to.
I would
manage
think so, is that, yeah, like you have to handle that rather than saying we have to regulate your driveway, because really? You
Yeah,
know?
and generally, that's in a denser area, like if
Yeah.
you're in the.
You could have a setback for a driveway, whether it's gravel or paved, so that you're not then right on the property, but what if you put in a patio? Some people have a patio.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So, can we pretend I didn't even say anything?
Yeah, too late, it's out there.
oh,
Oh, she didn't write it down, so, okay, let's move on.
I thought we had this discussion before though, and a suggestion of some kind of wording, saying proper drainage.
Yeah, I would think that would be more logical, because that is, I mean, if it, so at least it gives you a way to address
If you're so close to a property line.
it. At least it gives you a way to address it without it being like,
for
This
the
happened,
driveway
so.
specifically, let's say if you're on whatever street, the road commission can come in and
Right.
say, well,
that's too close to the road.
Right,
or I need it here, and now we're in conflict with you.
yeah.
Right,
But you could have a patio, or, I guess, a basement setback, I guess, but that's,
Yeah.
Some other day.
We'll just
We'll be
move
lucky
on.
if we
Move on.
can
If we get
regulate
the rest of
what
this,
we
and
get.
if we can
Yeah,
get some, the rest of this, then we'll revisit that when nobody has anything to do.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the next one? Accessory building. Accessory building, structures, uses, very incidental. I don't understand this sentence.
That's the same paragraph that was in that other section.
it's in all of them,
Can we get rid of it?
yes.
Okay. And that one's just going away,
This
right?
will be in, so basically,
Because we're having a sign.
B, the entire B will be removed.
the entire, yes, B, A, and, yeah, one, number two, well, we're on number 6 right now.
With accessory buildings,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
This
I'm
is
sorry,
not-
I jumped down to B. I'm
Yeah, no,
sorry.
this is A.
Now we're on to number 7.
Non-commercial residential.
Wait, so
storage-
6
What,
is out?
so 6 are we
Out.
removing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
A non-commercial residential storage building on a lot. Basically what we're saying is a pole barn.
We've been, this is,
So, you know, they keep reading number 6. So if you have a special land use, and you wanna build an accessory building, so if you already have an existing land use on your property, or, I don't even know.
is this saying you have to have a sign?
This is in the residential, right?
So,
R1.
so this number 6
Mhm.
means, if you have special use and you wanna
Oh.
build an accessory building, you have to get another special use to build your pole barn.
Can we just say it like that?
No,
Cause that makes sense.
because you don't want everything coming to you for special land use for a pole barn.
Right.
If you have a special use, and you're building a pole barn for storage or
To that special use building,
say I'm
you should just do
childcare.
it.
That's one of the things allowed in the residential, okay, I'm childcare. I want a garage for,
Store all my outdoor toys
expand.
or,
Well, it would need to be a real, farm market,
what would be a special use in the residential?
a church
Okay.
is a special use. So
In
if
the
a church
residential.
wanted to build a pole barn to store
extra
their
pew.
lumber, then they need to come and get another special use. Is what number 6 means.
Does that make sense?
No, I don't think it does.
No.
No,
It's not
because
a thing.
because they're paying for it. It's their property and that's all regulated in the supplemental accessory building section.
Such uses shall
Correct.
include temporary signs. What's a
When we get to
temporary
our
sign
site
for?
plan review section, there will be a section that the staff can approve, and then there'll be a section that the planning commission approves.
Okay,
And accessory buildings will be in the staff,
okay. So we don't need number 6.
we would like them to
Nope.
come to you.
Take it out.
For a garage or a pole barn.
Take it out.
No, no, bye.
Or a sign.
No, bye.
On to 7.
So that's why Mr., the guy in town, had to get a special use permit for his pole barn that he built next to his, because you have this provision. That's why he had to get a special use.
Okay.
Where it should have been.
Oh,
It
the
should have been
Mike
just that he
from
could
the
do it.
restaurant there?
Yeah, next, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Non-commercial residential storage
I thought that was
building
a
on
whole
a vacant
separate
lot.
Building though, I thought he's
It is. But
doing a
it's
car sales there.
It's accessory building to his principal use.
To his restaurant, car sales is accessory to a
It's an
restaurant?
accessory building.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Move on.
Don't try to make it work. Don't try to make it work.
So number 7.
A non-commercial residential storage building on a vacant lot.
So we have special use provision for this already, and we kinda chatted about it.
Yeah, so we can take that out
So
too.
we want to leave this,
Why? If it's in supplemental.
it's not,
Oh.
it's a special land.
Oh, in the special use, okay, I'm
Or
sorry,
they call it
conflating.
something else in the special land use, so we'll probably change the name.
Leave the
So
wording.
we
Keep
do
the
allow pole barns on vacant lots?
Yes, with a special use.
Yeah.
Yes,
Since when?
that's always, since
So-
Patrick was here and added it. Yes,
What is?
Patrick. But you have to have a house
In the district,
in the township.
in the township,
somewhere,
I mean, yeah.
And then you can then have another property.
Be sold together if you sell them. They have to be sold together, so that,
That's
My
what's
friend tried
already
to
on
get
the
a
books.
Already.
So
permit.
what was all the
She
big
came to the
discussion we were
planning
having
commission
then?
to-
Why
Something-
were we having all that
something's
discussion?
changed.
Allow it without the
No,
special
probably-
use and get rid of all those provisions.
Oh,
Years ago that he
I
did that.
see.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could just do it with a building permit and not have to go through the special use.
Okay.
does that make,
So it makes sense to some people, if it was
but
like,
it would still be that you have to own property in the township
maybe not.
if you
Right.
take
In
those
my
provisions
world.
away.
So you can have some control over them, you would keep it as a special use, but you would change the regulations some, so that you could use it,
Without having to ask permit.
or so you don't have to have another dwelling, so it would just be on a property alone and you wouldn't have to own a house anywhere. But you would get a special use, but
Okay.
you can then have provisions for one that you can allow it by right with the provision.
Yeah, I thought we discussed this at length and decided
Yeah, we
not
did.
to do that.
We did not
We
make a
didn't make a
decision.
decision.
Yeah, we hadn't made a
It was
decision.
tabled every time.
We didn't.
I would think that, and
So we
it's
can
5
make a
minutes.
decision
Right.
tonight, right?
Well, I would think
Or
if
actually, the
somebody-
board can make that decision also, 'cause we
Oh.
can make any decision we want here, and the board can say yea or nay.
I would think that
So
if
if
you left
there's
it in
something we
special
can't
use-
agree on, I think it should go to the board and let the board decide.
Well, I know that the board would like to allow pole barns on a property without a dwelling.
How do you know that? How do you know that the board wants that? The board is 5 people.
I've asked.
You know 2 people.
I have a question.
That's not
So,
a majority of the board.
The person-
And I don't know what the majority of the board wants.
right, so, from what,
Should it? And so my question is, so we could say that in order to build a pole barn on a vacant piece of property without owning another piece of property in the town, you have to get a special use. Does that
Yeah.
clear up the nebulous, does that make it
No.
clearer for
No.
people?
I'm opposed to that.
Okay,
So-
I just wanna ask a question, only because I want information about it.
So it's not a clear or not clear,
Okay,
you're allowing something a
you're
little
allowing
bit
something
different,
differently, okay.
where now you have to have a dwelling in a homestead
And get a special use to
and
build,
a use.
okay.
So, the lake people, you have a house on the lake, you have the street, and across the street,
Uh-huh.
it's vacant over there.
And you wanna build a garage,
So you get the special use of the garage over here.
because
But
you haven't,
have your house.
okay. But it wouldn't even have to be adjacent. So I just was thinking about this, I would like to know the pros and the cons of allowing, like, why is it bad to allow somebody to build a pole barn on a vacant piece of property?
I don't know if it's bad.
Or like, why is it, like, well, or people don't want it to happen? I just wanna know, I'd like to,
Ask
because I
yourself
Part
don't
of the reason
feel like,
Ask yourself what they're gonna do with it.
So,
Right.
some of the bad, whatever word I'm looking for, reputation is people turn them into homes illegally.
okay.
Bad reputation.
Which is why they have to have, if you're gonna build a pole barn on a piece of property, you have to have it so that people can live in it.
Or
So
you
that's, or, you
You
know, I know some of Dave's is, now you're gonna have quads and four-wheelers,
Yeah.
and you're gonna
which
use
is
it.
true,
It's gonna be your,
'cause I know people
your
who
party
actually
place.
do that,
It's gonna be your weekend party place.
Okay. They,
which is true.
but generally, are they building it in a neighborhood?
They would build them anyway, well,
Okay.
most of your township is ag, so most
So
of
it'd
them would
be
be in the ag.
in the ag, district, have 10-acre parcels,
You have a barn every 10 acres.
okay, but if you have a 10-acre parcel, is that gonna be disruptive to other people if you're on your property?
Depends on what you do.
Whatever you want on your property, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you drive a quad, on your property, because that's what you want to do. But you're on a 10-acre parcel, because you're in the ag,
If you stay on your
if you
parcel.
stay on your parcel, what,
Because of noise,
Okay.
the noise travels. 10 acres is not very big.
well, I
And you
know.
got a couple of teenagers on
But if they didn't have
it.
the pole barn,
going
they
all
would
day
probably
long.
be less likely to come out on the weekend, use the property, because, you wanna use the barn,
Okay.
as an example, for a party barn, to store and have your
Right.
cookout, and your family, and then you on Sunday night, and then everything's in the barn, and you have fun for the weekend.
And I know a very nice family who does that in a different township, different county, different township. They have a pole barn, they keep their quads there, they keep their guns there, 'cause they live in, like, city places, and they go out on the weekends, and they ride their quads, and they drink and they party. Pool table there, and they, like, beds and stuff, camping-like facility, and they, target shooting and stuff, which isn't all bad, but I don't know how I feel if I live next
If you
door to
live
them, and
there,
every
yeah.
weekend, the weekend warriors are out there.
So all this stuff you have to say, would I want that next to my home?
So, a
Or
friend
would
of-
anyone want that next
Well,
to their
yeah.
home? Would anyone want it
Yeah.
across the road from their
So what
home?
if they built a home that had quads?
Well, then you're kind of screwed.
Well, then they live
They
there,
live
and they're, so, if they live there, most
Yeah.
people that live there, they respect their neighborhood. They wanna get along with their neighbors. There's a difference to me in living there,
Oh,
and,
yeah, I'm sure, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's kind of some of the stigma
Yeah.
with,
okay.
that I.
I'm just
heard.
wondering if somebody who invests in a, invest in that is gonna, I don't know.
So-
Well, a
And
friend of mine lives on a lake. He bought a piece of property. He wanted to put a pole barn on it to store his tractor and his pontoon boat. And he wasn't allowed. I don't know why he wasn't, sounds like he is allowed.
Yeah.
yeah, it does sound
Township.
like he's allowed.
But he came here and they said no. But so he just wants to store his stuff on it
I don't,
because he's on the
Hey,
lake.
did he ask, did he
said
ever,
he did.
he may not have called for a permit.
I don't know. He said he came to whatever and he's given up on it.
So, yeah, I don't know about you, and the
That's
entire board
pro.
may vote for it, but
Yeah,
just
I
because,
think it's a,
you know, two people want it, doesn't mean all five want it, but things like this, honestly, I don't talk to a quorum of the board about it because I don't wanna
And
do
you
that,
should, because that's.
because that's a violation
illegal.
of OMA, and I truly don't do
So-
that stuff, I really don't.
So we are the planning, and we decide what our community looks like.
Well,
That's up
but the
to us.
board approves it
And
or
they can
disapproves it.
Right,
thumb up
right.
it.
The board can say, no, I don't like
But
this, or I want
we
this.
As
We should make a decision.
an example, leave it as is,
Yeah.
and we send it to them, and then they then say, we want this in here, they're gonna kick it back, and then we have to, so.
But
So we can
it
scratch
looks like
it
it's
out.
already allowed, so.
Yeah.
It's already allowed with a special land use,
It's allowed, and this is not our zoning ordinance, this is the else's zoning ordinance.
so we could tweak the provisions when we get.
No, this is
I
ours.
think we already have it.
We do.
Yeah,
Is it,
It's already
in
allowed.
ours. Yeah, it's in
We
ours.
So-
already have
and
it.
this one in ours is, wait a minute, where am I looking?
You have to
So
look
in
in.
our current ordinance that we have already adopted,
Oh, it says special non-commercial residential storage
Storage
building on
building
a
on a
vacant
vacant
lot.
So this is not our ordinance, this is our ordinance.
And that is
This
in,
is somebody else's. It
But-
may
no,
be-
this is our revised one.
this is your
But
ordinance.
This ordinance,
This
it's
is
just,
your ordinance.
This is our information, it's just reorganized.
it's reorganized.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
The only new stuff that wasn't yours was section 1 and section 3.
The red
Everything
that
else
was in there.
is directly from your ordinance.
Okay, so right now, we currently have that it's a special use, you have to go and get a special use permit to do that.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is our opportunity to
Yeah.
scratch that out of there.
Don't know if I'm comfortable with scratching it
Or when we get to the special uses, to revisit
personally.
the specific uses, and see if you may want to revise those. You may want to add a distance from the main house to.
Right.
So this text was taken from another township.
It's
That
taken
other
from another
township had 200 feet in it, but this one does not, so.
What, ours doesn't have 200,
Like I said, you can own the home over here, and then you can own another property over here,
okay.
and put the
And-
pole barn, they don't have to be.
Because ours doesn't
Ours-
indicate a distance.
So that might be something.
That we could add, like, to keep it a little more control. While still allowing
Well,
people to
I
do what
like
they
the
wanna do with their
idea
property.
of having another property in the township, because if you, like.
You'll take
if
more
you-
ownership of your area.
Right,
Yeah.
right. If it's your community, you're gonna care more about it.
Mhm.
And the people that will dislike it are right there, and you'll know
And they
them.
know where you live.
Yes, you know them, they know you.
Right,
That seems like somewhat of a compromise between
Not having it and.
not having people property right, you know
At
what I
one
mean? You
point-
buy a piece of property
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
At one point, we were talking about the size of the property, of the vacant property, weren't we?
Not that I
So
was there.
currently, it does specifically limit the size, it can only be 1,280 square feet.
The property, not the
pole barn
structure.
itself, because it does not limit the size of the property.
I guess that was just
So
the thought I had.
when we revisit these, that could be something.
Well, would that be something like if it's, sitting on the acreage, that you
No,
use
it's,
it?
no,
But could that be something that we could say, like,
Yes.
again, depending on the acreage,
you could.
you can have this size, as long as you own another piece somewhere in the township? Because it does make you more responsible if you're in the township. You're not just coming from
Right.
4 hours away.
It says that already, but.
Yeah, okay,
It says in common ownership.
okay.
Both lots shall be in common ownership.
And that's in the supplemental section?
Nope, it's in
Nope.
the special use.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, special use section. Getting my words mixed up.
Hey, is that for now?
Well,
I know.
I'm confused now. I am opposed to having
You're-
pole barns on vacant lots and sheds on vacant.
But we already allow it, and we don't have a lot of that happening,
Yeah.
because
But it's
they
not-
have to already own
Oh.
another piece of property. It's
Yeah.
not the same as somebody just buying, that's probably pretty much unbuildable, slapping a pole barn on it, and then,
And bringing a camper.
Well,
out for the
yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
right.
but yeah, my thing was, less about the noise would be, would that be, promote, would that encourage theft and vandalism? That would be my, if you've just got kind of,
Probably part of the
part of
reputation
the-
of it also.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I think, I think that it's a,
any unused property, the farm right on my road, the old man that owned it only could come out every so many months. And as he got older and sicker, he came out less. And people in the area, bad people,
Knew that he
noticed
wasn't around.
that nobody was there, and they literally that barn, and they broke in the house, cut through the back of the barn, realized they needed keys to steal the tractor, the golf cart, and everything else, and broke into the house, terrorized the house, found the keys.
yeah. Well, I mean, just knowing that, we had somebody, where I live, they don't have a pole barn, but they took their quads with them, and they came to Chicago, brought them for the weekend, took them home with them every time, didn't have a pole barn, they used them, but you just heard some quads for a couple hours, I don't know.
Yeah, but if you live on the lake, aren't you hearing the?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we do live on a lake, we hear boats, and you hear.
I mean, I've got guns every Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not just
We just,
a little bit of guns, it's somebody who spends all their money out.
right.
Well,
It's all
do you want
dang
to
afternoon
encourage
long.
Do you want to make it easier for that?
I'm like,
I
wow,
don't necessarily
where do they get
know
the
if
money?
it makes it easier, though. I think if you have certain stipulations, then you have some recourse, should you, because people are gonna do it. So if you have some
Something written that you
written
can.
that is applicable.
That you can
hold them to
enforce,
it.
yeah.
Without just saying, no,
enforcing
you
it.
can't.
And a way to have balance
do it.
between, believe me, Dave, I get what you're saying, and that's the worst case scenario, but we've gotta have a balance between
Worst case
regular
scenario.
people
Yeah.
and the worst case,
I had a
and
meth person
being-
living next door to me, so.
being able to
believe me.
enforce things and being where you don't allow anything, 'cause certain people do it anyway,
So
Right.
the way
we have
things are.
to back up, and you read the master plan.
Uh-huh.
And people want a quiet country place to live, right?
That's true.
You were
But-
encouraging,
But if you have a home, and you wanna build a pole barn across the street.
And you wanna ride quads, you can.
That means you're gonna be louder?
no, but
No.
you're not encouraging bad behavior. You're not open.
I sincerely,
There are people that will say, oh, Columbia Township, you can get away with anything in Columbia Township. You can put your pole barn
you
out.
pretty much can do stuff, 'cause
So is that okay? Is that
Well,
okay with you?
no, it's not, but what I'm
That
saying
Columbia
is if
Township's just a garbage township, you can do whatever you want.
but, I don't know, I mean, I don't think that, because I think we have a lot of regulations in place about things, but, I don't know, it just seems like there's a happy medium, rather than saying, no, you can never. Right, yeah. Well, I mean, 'cause you hear farm equipment, that's loud.
The medium is, you have to already own a parcel.
That's what you have to own property somewhere.
Adjoining parcel.
And, it does say occupied by, so you have to have one lot with a single family dwelling. And then, so this was really intended for the lake. It would apply
Right.
anywhere. But here's the street, and then you have, a lot of them have the stack lot.
Yeah.
Their property on the lake is too small, and they need a garage, or a boat, or.
Yeah, and that stops people from coming to the township to just have a pole barn here, and that's all they're ever gonna do here.
Which, I mean, that seems like
So
an awful lot of money.
if it's in the R1 and you guys are happy with it along, I'm not pleased with it being in the ag district.
It seems like personally for me, it seems like a proposition just to like be 4 hours away and have a pole barn someplace that can get broken into all the time.
So is it in the ag district?
It's not in the ag
Should we
district.
take it out?
I think we should leave that then. I mean, because you have people who are already living here and you're gonna have noise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I dragged it out so long.
Oh, that's all right.
It's
We
okay.
gotta discuss
As
it.
long as it gets discussed
You
and
guys can answer
cleared
to
up.
Ken.
Yeah, so it's not in the ag, it's
Okay.
in just the R district.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ken wants to allow it, doesn't he?
Yeah, R2.
No, just moved.
Oh.
Yeah.
He wants us to get through all this.
Yeah.
Should we finish
He's
up,
dreaming.
do you think we can finish up 5 and be done with 5 tonight?
Yeah, just one more,
Yeah.
number 9, and then B is getting removed.
I have to get a drink of water. I'll be right back.
Number 9,
Removing all
communication tower.
B.
B is moved to the supplemental.
Building.
Okay.
And, 9, communication,
Accessory building.
B
Is
is currently a
totally-
special land use. I don't know why
it doesn't,
Oh, okay, special land use.
it's redundant.
It's in.
the special land use section, so.
Maybe.
So that's where it
okay.
goes.
So communication tower, we're just leaving that,
Yeah.
correct?
Which, you know what, I have more of a problem with the 5G tower near me, but.
So B, 1 and 2,
You have a 5G tower?
No, I have more problem with
Oh,
that.
I'm gonna say, then I could get cell signal.
Yeah, it should be so low.
will be somewhere, will be,
2 will also be in, all of B will be in there, right?
Will be where, I'm sorry?
In the special
And,
use. And then dimensional regulations, that's in the,
that'll be the chart,
that'll be
the chart.
removed?
Okay, it will become
Right.
the chart
the chart, yep, the 504 will become our chart,
with the setbacks.
with the setback.
Right, got it.
So it will,
Okay.
more than likely, lot area, lot width, front setback, side, rear, lake setback. Typically your minimum size is usually in this chart, and then we would kind of refer it back to, just, 'cause a lot of people just look at this as a quick reference. Height, and the height would be,
Yeah, like the 25, okay,
and you don't have a lot coverage, so that won't be, that's what will be in the chart.
okay.
So, if we wanna add accessory dwellings, that would be something we'll do later, permitted accessory, because I don't see why we don't allow people to have duplexes and so on and so
So
forth.
you
In
will
At a
residential.
mother-in-law home or
Or-
a guest
allow
cottage.
duplexes in
in
one
all of it.
district,
In the R1, right? Or R2.
R2.
We allow it in R2, which is
R2.
residential,
Allow them in
which
the
is
ag,
resort.
but
We do or do not?
do not.
And, why is that? That just doesn't make sense.
So it's a density thing, so our ag district is 10 acres, but
Right.
we want low density.
So that's not always been 10 acres, because I don't have 10
We
acres.
have city
It got
in
changed.
ag, because of the nature of,
So a two-family on one property.
It's not low
may be
density.
construed as
High
a
density?
higher density, I
So,
don't know, but.
is there a county regulation that you can only have one house on a
You can
parcel?
allow as many as you want.
Okay.
Well, Bloomingdale Township doesn't have it, 'cause right across the street there's
You
3
cannot have more
houses.
than 2 manufactured homes, so then it's a mobile home park,
right.
but you can have as many stick built. Up to you. So we could propose maybe duplexes in the ag district, have it in the R2
It seems like you'd want it R1.
or R1,
Yeah,
R2.
right.
R2 is like, yeah, that seems
Right, that
weird.
doesn't make sense
So
to
they're
me.
smaller.
I doubt that people will
More
build.
people using the septic, that's already not
Mhm.
ideal.
So could we take it out of R2 next time and put it into R1?
Okay.
Mhm.
Or just,
I think ag.
Cause you've got plenty of space, I mean, you got 10-acre parcels.
I don't know if you could fit a duplex on those little lots, but
On the lakes
Mhm.
or the, I don't think you could.
you can put it in there and
well,
let
then for
them
sure
fight
the
for it.
septic as well.
Right,
I'm not sure that you could share, maybe you could, but then now
I don't think you
have
can.
space on your bedroom, that then stays high, so.
Oh, the septic would have to be made the proper size to, and that's how they would do it, you just have a bigger tank.
Correct, so, yeah.
so let's take it out of R2, which is resort, and put it in R1 and ag.
Why is Michigan so resistant to having a state septic thing? A uniform septic code? Why are we so against that?
I'm not sure. And I would think that each county, the counties are kind of relatively the same, I'm not really sure. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the accessory dwelling unit would be in the supplemental, like to,
Well, everything I'm reading about housing relief, and, you know, younger people in our community and in getting older and having, you know, company sometime. The idea of having a guest cottage, having, like people call a mother-in-law unit, something like that, or as people get older, it's a way for you to have someone where you could offer them pay and you live there, and, or it's your family member, they live there to take care of you.
Those are
I
not
just like that
allowed
idea. No, that's not allowed
in
currently.
R1 or 2.
Nowhere.
or in the township.
Oh, but I think that
I
needs
think
to
that
change.
should, I think that should be allowed.
That
I didn't
needs
know
to
that wasn't
change.
allowed. We've always planned to build a garage with a mother-in-law apartment.
You only have one dwelling per person. But if you had your home and like an attached garage and you had
An apartment above it, you can.
it's all attached in this one
Right,
home, so
right.
Oh.
that wouldn't really be considered an accessory dwelling.
Right.
Or an addition, yeah, just make it a
Yeah,
big
if
addition.
We
you
should-
have an
so
attached garage, not
The
everybody
way to
does.
do that would be to have an accessory dwelling and limit the number, that's when they have to have their own septic. Or you'd have to tie into the current
Or it would
septic.
just be health department approval.
Yeah.
Health department
You would
approval,
let them
okay. Let the health
decide.
department say, okay.
So,
Yeah, we definitely need to add that in, don't you guys?
I think so.
I think.
Dave,
I
you're
don't
all
know.
for this, but you don't want a full barn.
Because he knows that if they're building that second home on their property, they're gonna be there, they're gonna
Well, it's
care.
gonna increase your value, because if you're gonna spend the money on, I would think, building that second dwelling on the property, you're not, you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
going to, you're,
And if it's not allowed by zoning, it cannot be included in the sale. It cannot be included in your appraisal. So
Right.
if zoning
Oh,
allows
allows
it,
you can
for
appraise
anyone
it.
who already has that,
And
Now.
I've had many calls about, oh, is this allowed? There's an apartment in the garage, or is a pole barn, is this allowed? And I say no,
Uh-huh.
and then, yeah.
yeah, if
That
zoning
happens.
allows it, then they can
Then they
appraise
can
it
appraise it and,
properly.
and get the proper value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
the
think
only
that's
thing
important.
is that it would be very hard to regulate renting of them. So we either just make our regulation and move on and not worry about that, or if we don't regulate rentals or short-term rentals.
And would that be a commercial activity if you're gonna rent it out? No.
Not by the lobbyists wanting it to be a single-family home.
I had it, when I did have, I sure had to pay tax on it like it was
Yeah.
commercial.
So some cities have this tax if you're renting it, but it's still a single-family home
With an accessory building.
within
With
an
an
accessory
accessory
dwelling
building.
unit, so the use, depending on what you say, could be.
But you also have to know that if it's a single-family dwelling and you're living there, even if somebody said, oh, yeah, I'll rent it for the weekend, the primary property owner is going to be there, so there's gonna be,
Yeah. Nobody needs to know if there's.
Well, you
Well,
just
but
say
what
that-
I'm saying is it's not a controlled party
yeah.
land,
Mhm.
because your primary
Well,
dwellers, unless they are out of control party
or
land
it could be
people.
a full short-term rental, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
We
a
don't
fan
have to
of
decide now.
unregulated
Well,
short-term
the
rental.
relative of, you know, our mother-in-law or our mother being able to stay, or our kid, or whatever, but the reality is, people want that for short-term rental.
Well, if you say in the ordinance that they can't be rented,
In the South Haven Township, in their guest house, they have provisions that say that. So I don't know.
because then it gives you something
To fall back.
to enforce with. And then that keeps the investors, you know, over developing your neck of the woods for their profit. 'Cause they're not gonna live there.
Should we wind it up, or?
I was just gonna say, we don't have to quit. If we're on a deadline, we have to get through this.
Well, we made a lot of progress today, so the R1 and the R2 are very close to the same.
Yep.
And we are kind of already discussed the,
So can we
We
whip
could
through the
probably get
RO?
through R2, it's only one page. Double-sided page, if you guys are game, anyone game for that?
Oh, yeah, it's okay with me. I don't even have it.
Article 6,
I think we already.
Oh, Article 6, oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
page 37.
Yeah, so that public utility building, that pops up again.
Yeah. So this is residential resort, are we on R2? Isn't that pretty same R1?
that's kind of what I,
So we're gonna kind of do the same thing with that.
oh, so this district allows for the duplex,
Which we're taking out.
Tasha, the purpose, can we take out the word establishment?
To provide for the preservation of higher density.
Yeah, I don't like the word establish, it's like we wanna establish higher density, and that's not
Well,
what we
around the
want
lakes
there,
though,
right? We don't want
you
to
do
create,
already have it,
it's already there, but we don't wanna create more,
So-
right?
We just wanna preserve what
We
we've
wanna
got.
preserve what we
Right,
got.
preserve what we've got,
You what?
I think the whole purpose needs to be rewritten.
yeah,
This is really
I agree.
like a cabin or a resort or, you know, varied use types of housing, including resort related.
Yeah,
So, you know, that could be a cabin or,
right, and there was the word enterprise there, and that,
definitely revisit the whole purpose.
to provide for the, preservation and safety of higher density, I don't know. Rewrite.
Well, what do we wanna do with the residential district? We wanna do with it, with the resort district, I'm sorry. What is the purpose, what's our purpose in the zoning of it?
The one, from the other,
R1?
yeah,
To establish and preserve single-family home districts,
Need to fix that, if we're moving,
and preserve,
So the R2 is more of like a lake district kind of thing.
we wanna preserve the district, we wanna protect the water, we want homes there to be able to have, well,
maintain the character and integrity
yeah,
of the,
of the
Kind of take
existing.
some of the.
Mhm.
Yeah.
from
From
the
R1.
mhm.
You know, but this district is really your lake district.
The idea thing.
yeah.
multifamily dwellings. The uses are kind of the same, so we'll just do the same as the R1.
Yep,
And then the additional one is
But aren't we taking the multifamily out?
number 5, a multifamily dwelling. I think it should be maybe somewhere else.
It says single family and two family dwellings. Oh, okay, yeah.
Special land use. With a special land use, you can have a multi-family dwelling, number 5.
Okay, so this is, we're taking that out as permitted by,
I think it should then be somewhere else. So I have other townships who do not allow either.
Multi-housing being a duplex?
Three plus units. Multi-family is more than 3,
so it's more than 2 units.
So we don't,
Okay,
a multi-family is
Yeah.
3 plus units, and it's under the commercial.
okay.
So right now, this is saying we allow it?
Well, that's not a commercial district, so how could we allow something that's under the commercial page?
Well, this is still
37.
Where-
residential, because it's a house. However, the lots are really small on the lake. So with the.
I say we take that out
More
from
room,
here.
more something well, so the
Yeah.
district itself
Yeah.
can't accommodate the multi-family.
Right,
so
you're
I think
right,
we need to
right.
take that out, if there's any verbiage of that. We need to
Do you think it should go somewhere else?
could go in our commercial district, or,
yeah,
Town,
The overlay here.
or even the what? Did you say, Tom?
in town,
Yeah,
in town. Yeah.
That's considered commercial?
it is,
so it's R2 would be commercial
yeah,
in the
Okay.
town.
yeah,
So if we,
I think you could add it there,
That
because
makes
that
sense.
seems like that's where you'd want it.
yeah.
Yep.
Or it could go in
And
our
where's
for
verbiage that I'm
future
looking?
commercial
Yeah,
development.
Section,
where are we at, Tasha?
we're on page 38,
oh, okay,
Oh.
special,
5.
38, okay. So we,
yeah, okay, so
all
that's gonna go
37
to,
was,
that's gonna go to, R
So we're gonna match up.
two, it's R2 with commercial overlay then?
So we're 2 different districts. We have a commercial district, and then we also have the Grand Junction overlay.
Okay.
5, right, multiple family dwellings,
Yep.
removed.
And we're putting it in the commercial district and in the Grand Junction commercial overlay.
Okay.
The North Lake Inn could then become.
Could then become a multiple,
Or the,
Is
There you go.
this the one that
Or the
Ken
golf
thought that the guy was able to build, the guy who built a home?
maybe, I don't know, because by definition, of a dwelling does say one or more families can live in it, but the building code term of a multifamily and a single-family duplex, those different.
See, multifamily dwellings to me means a building with
That
more
has
than one family in it. It doesn't mean that you can build 2 homes on one lot.
That's not what it is.
That's what I thought, so I'm right.
And then you have one building
You hear this,
with
Kim?
3 units in it for 3 different things. With firewalls and different.
Right.
Yeah.
They
That's a
independently
multifamily
live independent of each other.
do we, so on 6.3, do you wanna leave the churches, schools, libraries, publicly owned
Yeah,
buildings?
so-
Okay,
So we'll do the same.
do the same thing for our,
4, like we
okay.
did in the last one.
accessory buildings on a vacant lot.
Keep that.
So we're gonna keep that, because that's like if you own the property across the street.
Yep.
Okay,
And we're gonna remove number 7.
okay,
Add it to the chart,
to the, okay, right, community power, yeah.
E will be removed. And 604, we'll add the chart.
Do we wanna do 7?
And we're on a roll, anyone object?
That was, our
Let's just
objective was
break
to
it up
get
in the
through
morning.
7, so, me.
And Anita, you too?
You're losing me, but, yeah, keep going.
Okay. Okay, so this is residential old flats district. Purpose of this district is to provide for the development of single lot subdivisions platted before so, do we have any of those? That already have houses on them?
Fire lane, old fair, these dark brown ones.
All the
Okay.
dark brown stuff.
These are the ones that hardly have any houses.
Yeah, because most of them aren't buildable lots and can't fit well on septic.
So this district is for a super small, teeny-weeny flats that have 40-foot wide lots. Which are these dark brown.
Wow, why do we have so many?
See, I wish we had development money and could do a central septic and well for these lots and develop like our own little, tiny home
I was gonna say, some
area
of
or
those could,
something,
no.
but not
You gotta
individually
have a
because
trailer park by
they,
law.
I don't think an
We have
individual
one-
could accomplish that.
We do have one, but do we want more?
No,
Okay, thank you.
it's not.
Oh, man.
But we don't have
That's a
money
witching
for
hour.
that.
Yeah, you could do tiny homes.
Yeah,
Tiny
so
homes,
it doesn't make a difference. They're platted before 67 and have less than 8720 and 50 feet. But the minimum, I don't know where
It
that.
doesn't make
number
sense to me when I was reading that.
So if it just says before 1967,
We're good?
which such lots have less than the required minimum width and area of the district,
Okay.
does that make more sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Because the requirement of the district is 100 feet and 1,200 square feet. So in our specific regulations, we're not given any relief. If you now create a parcel, you have the.
Right.
What you have.
yeah, this doesn't even make sense,
Yeah.
I don't understand
doesn't
it
add up.
actually. Yeah, that too.
And that was recorded. So you're gonna change it to that have less than the required area,
Yeah, the area and width of the district.
area and width.
Required by the
Along those
district.
lines, yeah.
Required by the. Then we're back to the childcare centers, which you're gonna wording, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
It'll all be
fixed
the same.
wording. Okay, what about the, where it says single-family, dwellings for seasonal use? Why is that in there?
So a seasonal use, single-family home is a home that doesn't have heat.
Mhm.
So you can build a home today without heat, but you can't live in it in the winter when there is without heat.
So is that like for the ones like the trailer parks, but they're permanent structures?
So this is like a home that you build with no heat in it.
Like a garage.
Like a cottage?
So back in the day, when you built a cottage.
You didn't put heat, right?
Right, because you were using summer.
So that's a seasonal.
Do we wanna keep that in there then, or?
So there are some already that have been built on the lake in the middle of Evergreen. In the middle with the seasonal, so they can have their pole barn and still have a dwelling, but it's not heated. So this is an old school thing.
So are we allowing more of those?
Yeah.
Should we?
Should we allow more of those?
It depends on what we want. I mean,
They're,
if somebody owns the property and wants to do it, then
right.
it's seasonal. Why, if they own the property?
They're hurting themselves, they can't come up, and it's harder for them to sell it.
Mhm. That's themselves, but I mean, if they wanna do it.
Then it would be something you
That-
should maybe have an office.
Yeah, I
that's the
don't,
thing. But I don't know if that
Oh.
necessarily,
yeah, they'd have to sell it for, it'd have to be a cash buyer. I don't know if you could.
should we just
you know.
hit out of there so it matches with all the other districts? Because that seems strange to me that it's in an old plat
Yeah.
and it's not in the other districts, so I would, personally for me, you let me know, you guys let me know if I'm missing something. Personally for me, I would take that wording out.
And it's an area we have some of the most trouble with right now,
And
the
I
township
think
is.
maybe it was to.
In this area here?
Yes.
Maybe put those houses that are used for seasonal more
Nah.
to be conformant, but they're still a single family home whether they have heat or not.
I just leave it single family dwelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take out the seasonal use.
Yeah.
And that's number 2. So we would basically just remove number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Excluding recreational vehicles, well, we're not supposed to do that anyway, so.
Remove.
Didn't we have a
So-
whole
Right, yes, we
evening
did.
about
And
that?
we're having a lot of problem with that.
Yeah,
So it'll be just the same as the other one.
yeah. It seems like it makes sense to me that the residential districts all kind of have a similar, it's just gonna be easy, yeah.
Just recent.
Yeah, and I don't know what the benefit of the seasonal use, and it's basically a home that doesn't have heat.
Right.
So you're there seasonally, only in the home doesn't go away, it's still there, and it
So-
still has to be the same size, you still have to have a septic and well, you
Right.
still have to have all the other things.
Or an outhouse.
As a single family home.
State license, so we get we still do the foster care. Do we have to add the adult foster in there too?
Yep.
You have to do that in every one just because.
Yep. It's just gonna be reference to the accessory building chart, supplemental, whatever. Okay, okay. So that comes out and it's moved to the,
Supplemental building.
Remove.
All right.
That's where you're in, but I was wondering why yours is different. So this number 1 is just nonsense, right?
yeah,
I think like
what?
I'm just reading number 1, normal accessory.
Single family
Yeah,
dwelling.
how do you
That's
figure
not a
that out?
What is a normal accessory structure to a single family dwelling? A shed, a garage?
I don't know what a normal,
Yeah,
what is normal, I don't.
Somebody was
Well-
cut and pasting a lot of crap.
yeah. Home occupations, class 1. Okay, permitted special uses, churches, publicly owned buildings, public utilities, lands for parks. Do we want the public and private swimming pools taken out, similar facilities for outdoor exercising?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
It
gone.
would be the same.
just like,
Accessory building structures, incidental, that gets taken up, number 4 gets taken out too, doesn't it? So we keep number 4. I'm crossing and no,
Before it gets taken out also.
okay.
yeah.
And then that's a reserved spot for something?
Do we need those reserved spots?
Yes,
Do we?
Yeah.
yeah, Christie said so that when
You wanna add
when
something?
you wanna add something, you don't have to redo everything, you've already got a spot.
You've already got a spot
So,
for it.
like, this is easy enough to add to the end of it, but when we're in like the supplemental, it's not quite as easy to,
Just add another one,
yeah.
cause then it
so-
throws everything after that off.
So would it make sense to put the reserved spot
At the
below
end.
all the other stuff? Instead of making it 5, make it 6.
So
Make 6,
the-
5?
The
There probably
special,
won't be any reserved in these particular things, so it's easy enough to just add.
To add,
okay.
and so the accessory building on the vacant lot is going to be under how the ordinance goes, like right now you have to own property. Okay, all right. Additional buildings,
And that's going away.
and that is gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be in the other section, right?
So we're removing 2, we're removing 1, because that's already somewhere else? No.
We're moving B, additional
B as in boy,
B
1
as
and
in boy.
2.
1 and 2 under
And then
B.
the special land use section,
Alright.
it should not be in this section.
I don't have a C.
41, yep,
Let's see,
41.
page 40.
40.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't have a-
Yeah,
okay.
you already wrote
Got
it.
that, yeah.
Page 41, I'm sorry, what did you say, the what?
B as in boy, 1 and 2.
Are going away.
They're being moved.
Well, yeah,
They're just gonna stay where they are in this ordinance currently,
Yeah.
in the special land use section.
right, right. I just meant they were not gonna see them in this.
They're not gonna be here.
Yeah. So, this, so we've already went through that in our chart,
Mhm.
so
Oh.
This is just gonna become a
This
chart.
will also become a chart. This, yeah.
Well, when you
Oh.
read it, you're just like, with the what? With
Wow,
the
that's
where?
crazy.
With the what?
So there's so much,
There's
Oh.
so many words.
or,
So many words.
yeah, it's.
If there's lightning in the sky and you're facing to the north and the wind blows from the west.
When the sign is a street, well, then it's not a sign, it will be way easier.
Well, these things are just chopped up like little pieces of pie. They're just little
Yeah.
weird shapes.
Well, remember when we went through this? So,
We did.
it's 5 feet from the water.
Right.
Remember when we went through this?
Uh-huh.
We just
Yep.
when you kind of pull it all out, you can have an accessory building 5 feet from the water.
It said,
Yes,
it
I
does
remember
say from the
talking about
highest, like the highest that the water can be.
Normal high water level.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is-
really
which is
close.
Going
Did
away.
we changed that,
High
didn't
water,
we?
yeah.
Yeah,
But the high water mark is gonna be
way higher.
different,
On
yeah.
So the high water
On
mark
our
is
lake, we've
always
got
the
beavers.
same. The actual water level changes.
Well, that's what I meant, yeah.
Mhm.
The ordinary high water mark is a set. So they change it in however many years. Like Lake Michigan was established in 87. Your lakes have an ordinary high
So,
water mark.
do we have to read and understand this? Does this
Yeah,
have to be?
Dave, yeah. See, now you know why.
Then I want you to
That's on
stand
it.
up and draw
What's
a
your-
picture about how
That's
it works, and then I want you to put sticky notes on it, just arrows going back.
Yeah, so if you're on, and here's the street, and then here's the water, there's a different.
Yes, I remember talking about that.
You have to know how to read this and
Yeah.
find,
That's why
If
we have
you're
you,
in
right?
Miami, sell your land now and
But,
start
I mean,
investing in
did
this
you have a
Florida.
better way to do this?
We're gonna make it a chart.
Chart.
You did make it a chart?
It's the chart.
Yeah, the setback chart instead of
Yep.
all of that. I honestly I wouldn't,
because the
have to
setback
read
is
through
a
that.
setback. If you're
Right.
on a lake, you have the waterfront setback and you have the street front for your house, and then your accessory building has another setback
Setback from the watermark.
from this, and then you have the two sides, so, but I don't know why it has to be on.
Complicated.
and as an ordinary reading this, I could see why people would get discouraged, you know, and
I
just,
think we might have actually had the setback be the same for the house and the accessory building, maybe.
I think we did. So that you don't have this and then accessory buildings blocking the view to the waterfront.
If you're on the lake, you can have a garage 10 feet from the street.
Mhm.
I think if I'm reading
But
it
it
correctly.
has to be, I was reading it, accessory buildings have the same setback of 25 feet or and then it can't be in front of the stuff 200 feet side unless it's under a certain amount of square footage, and then it can be
Oh,
closer to
and,
the lake.
and
I
similar
think.
structures on adjacent lots.
Yeah, yeah,
An average.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you're not getting, here's your house, and then you're getting people, which,
But if you had the same setback.
yeah,
but
all the
then
way.
A lot of the homes were built in the 50s and the 60s, when there wasn't any zoning, they kind of taken the average.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, on our lake, the property next to us, they had a small shed right on the water. And so, when you look out, and it was on the property line too, so when you
Mhm.
look out, we always saw the shed with the shadow of
Ugh.
something on it. It's gone now. It's not there anymore, thankfully, but yeah, that's why you want the set,
sure.
yeah. Which,
Right, so if you're under 200 square feet, then you can be 5 feet.
yeah, which is what they were, and it's unfortunate. It burned down.
It was an accident, right?
It's a
Oopsie.
commercial district.
I wasn't anywhere near it.
What was that, Tasha?
But I think the commercial district might take a little longer.
Yeah,
maybe.
we'll do,
Okay.
so next time, so did everybody see the email from Tasha about meeting at 6
Oh.
for the June meeting? Meeting at 6 to do a workshop to get through some of this.
So, tonight, we did really, really good,
Yeah.
because there wasn't any other business,
Mhm.
so we could do like we did today, so you don't need to come in early, if you're fine with that.
Yep, I am.
And
Yeah.
So should we do 3 more? I mean, what do you want us to go through?
Yeah, do a lot if you can.
Can we
You wanna
shoot
do
for 4? How
8
bad
or
are
11?
they?
Well, 8 is the commercial district, but 9 is commercial overlay, 10 is industrial, and 11 is the mobile home park.
I think we should maybe just shoot to finish the district,
Okay,
because
8 through 11 then.
I think that when we get to the overlay, we're
Oh,
then,
sorry.
Yeah, 8 through 11.
jump to the special uses, because there's, I think we can do that together.
So 8 through 11 then.
8 through 11? Or are you saying,
Yes, I'm sorry.
okay, let's do 8 through 11.
No, where's the?
Section 8
The overlay is 9.09, section 9.
So there's
is the
commercial,
to
overlay.
9.
commercial overlay,
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Gotcha.
Industrial,
Okay.
And then the
and mobile
industrial.
home park.
And
Yeah.
mobile home park.
So
You-
let's
8 through 11.
And 8 through 11 is what we're gonna look at in home, and then,
Talk about in May.
and then
June.
if we, are on a roll, we could maybe read 12 at home so that have
Mhm.
read some
Have
of
a
it
little
already,
idea.
and in case we're able to move on.
Yeah, so it would be, we're just gonna keep
Pretty
going
big.
with the ordinance as it is now. We're not, that way we're not flip-flopping, so we'll just keep going, so if you do get ambitious, I guess, so at the beginning of the supplemental, it kind of talks about accessory buildings, so we've already talked about those, so this is where the chart will go.
Oh, okay.
And that,
Animals,
wait a minute, what are we
Where's
talking
the
about now?
supplemental?
52,
So-
52.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wrong vote.
Article 12, special uses, okay.
Nope, supplemental.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
There's
Look at
a good
This
one.
one?
Yeah.
This is the newer one, with these changes.
This, the one that we got tonight, page 52.
Right, okay.
52,
So she's
supplemental
saying accept-
regulations, Article 12.
Accessory buildings, that's all the information that we've pulled out, so that's what will go there.
Oh, okay, so we'll, okay.
So so if you go through these and you see a blank with nothing under those are ones that other townships kind of regulate and have text for that you don't.
Okay.
So we could either choose to have something there or to not, as an
Optional.
example. So there's animals, there's fences, I think, few that I added in here.
Yep, fence.
So, the accessory buildings, we've already decided to put that into the supplemental.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Is that something we need to go over again, or
So once
No.
it's in there, we will
then
look at
we'll
it
go
again.
over it? Okay, and it will be in there in
So it will
June?
be, there'll be some language,
Okay,
probably be an A, B, and a C, or a 1, 2, 3, and then there'll be the chart.
okay.
It'll be an actual regulation and an actual
Okay.
set of the way it's written right now.
Yeah, there's pools, you said pools.
Okay, got it. Sorry. Is that good?
You guys are great.
So we need to go over the reports, correct?
Yep.
Are there any reports? I did not get any reports.
No, the only thing I have to
Zoning.
say is that we did, hire a zoning administrator,
You did?
Beth Middleton Pompey. I don't know if it's pronounced Pompey, I think it's Pompey.
Beth Middleton Pompey?
Yeah, and she'll be here in the office from 9 to 1.
Taking Tasha's place?
No, Tasha's gonna remain doing this for the ordinance, 'cause Tasha she resigned,
As the zoning administrator.
right.
Okay.
So we need a
Yeah.
zoning administrator, and
Right.
she's gonna be doing enforcement, building
Okay.
permits and all that. We
Great.
were going to hire the company,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently, I don't know, I was out of state, there was something with their contract, so now we have made her an employee of the township instead.
What's her name? Beth Middleton?
Beth Middleton
Middleton
Pompey, and, her phone number is on the website, it's updated already,
Okay.
and you
So
can
she's
call her.
already working then?
Yeah, she's already working, and, I really liked their company. They were out of, Cassopolis, but we didn't hire the company, but,
Where's she from? She local?
I think Cassopolis, from that area there, but they do, Lawton or Hartford or,
So she works for that
I can't
company,
remember
but
them all.
she's gonna do this on the side?
it's their company, I believe it's her
Oh,
and her husband's company. And they do a lot of, they seem to be, it sounded like they were good at enforcement. And she had, suggested that, we adopt that construction code. Tasha pointed out we probably already have, we just don't realize it, so we've gotta clean it up. We'll clean it up, and,
Did she mean the property maintenance code?
that's the
That's
property
something totally
maintenance code.
different.
Oh, okay.
Those are two totally different things. So the property maintenance code is for existing buildings that are already built.
Dangerous buildings and that.
Well, that's different also. So the property maintenance is if,
I'll ask, because I didn't talk to her, I was talking to
so
Christie.
like stop it.
And Christie was saying International Construction Code, but,
So if
and
you're-
so was
if-
I, so we might,
If the
Open
house
it
is
wrong.
in disrepair or something,
Yes,
type of
then
thing?
you would use the property maintenance code.
Okay.
Maybe that's what she was referring to?
probably,
And that's your report, right?
yeah.
Township, okay. What about the ZBA representative?
We have not had a meeting. We were supposed to, but everybody says something going on, so we've never met them.
We're going backward, Tasha. Do you have any, do you have a report or any? No?
I'm done with reports.
Oh, yeah, that's not you.
The new lady didn't have to present a report.
Anyway, oh, oh.
Yeah.
She's very new, so she probably doesn't actually have a report.
She probably should
Okay.
have to.
Public comment? How long do I have to wait for public comment? If there's nobody here. All right, does anyone want to move to
We'll just
adjourn?
say there's no public comment.
No public comment.
I'll move to adjourn.
Take her in her minutes.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get it together someday.
I'll move to adjourn at, I don't know what time, and I can't read the clock.
9:54.
Good grief.
I could've looked at my phone, duh.
Does anyone second it?
I second that.
Seconded by Anita. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you,
Yep.
Tasha, for.
You guys.
Thank you for putting up with me. I am the cranky old man of the